Is I've been doing live consistently for a few days, and in between I took a 2 days break. Rather, I had to because my broadband internet connection got down. So I had planned this particular topic that I'm going to cover today a few days back, and few of the people messaged me asking, is it happening? Is it getting broadcast? So I'm back again with this topic, and I want to talk about this, which is how to get customer experience job in e-commerce. Right? If it's of interest to you, if you're watching it live, feel free to message me why it is, what specifically you want to understand in this space. And I want to share with you my experience. I have been working with lots of professionals, CX professionals, and helping them get job breakthroughs. I've also studied the profiles of lots of professionals who have got breakthroughs in e-commerce, who are doing well in e-commerce. Of course, this is a era of a time of great resignation where left, right, and center people are jumping from one job to another. Of course, for good reasons, because there are opportunities and because they feel it's the right time, right? So it's also a right time to move into e-commerce, especially with customer experience credentials. So I want to welcome you to this live today, where I want to discuss with you about how to get customer experience job breakthrough in e-commerce industry. If you're watching, if it's of interest to you, tell me, what do you do? What kind of industry are you from? And if you want to move into e-commerce, tell me, from banking to e-commerce, from manufacturing to e-commerce, whatever industry you're from, share in the chat box if you're watching this live or even later which industry you're from. And if you want to go into e-commerce, mention that as well. So let's get started. Again, as I said, in the peak of pandemic, of course, have seen unprecedented growth in e-commerce industry for the good reasons that because all the other channels of buying and reaching out to consumer for some time were completely closed. And during that window, the only way to get the products and services, thankfully, were through e-commerce delivered at your doorstep. So while all the other businesses were seeing recession, e-commerce industry was seeing growth. So for example, Amazon actually advertised that they're looking for, I saw a news article actually which mentioned that Amazon is hiring 100,000 people at the peak of recession for the other industries. So of course, if you're a customer experience professional, e-commerce is also a right industry where all your skills and knowledge will get leverage. So I did some study and I looked at some of the profiles, and I looked at, for example, companies like Amazon, companies like Flipkart, and looked at the profiles of some of the people, went onto their LinkedIn profile and saw what kind of industries they come. So let me share with you. For example, I'm now looking on my other screen, which you can't see, where I see, for example, Vice Pres, Director of Customer Experience Strategy at Amazon. And if I go through the profile where, you know, the Director of Customer Experience Strategy, she has been with Amazon for some time now, but before that, she has been with Tata Business Excellence Group, which is about designing strategies for customer experience and helping all kind of companies, including e-commerce companies. So she has been in that strategy space for significant amount of time with great company like Tata Group and Tata Business Excellence, which is involved in actually helping other businesses through consulting services. That kind of prepared her for this positioning. So what is it, so what this probably is something which is called as the right experience, right? So she brought in right kind of experience. And then also, if I look at the same profile, she has been an independent consultant with practicing and helping other companies deploy CX kind of practices for retail industry. So again, coherence, if you see, the word I'm using is coherence in where you want to go and what you've been doing. And of course, that coherence you will have to derive also, because you might be doing many things over a period of time. Again, she has been a corporate brand strategist with uh, another IT services company, Tech Mahindra, and before that in marketing and sales with a advertising and communication company, Bennett Coleman. So if you see, a thread is marketing, sales, customer behavior, consumer behavior, customer experience. So that's the thread that you can see for the director customer experience strategy at Amazon. This is one of the profiles. So you look at the experience, you look at, there is enough evidence which shows that she has the knowledge and background of what she's been doing. If I look at another profile now, let me move on to someone who is the vice president customer experience design and operations at Flipkart. Okay, now the kind of companies this person has been with, of course he's been with Flipkart also for a long time, but before that he has been with GE. And like GE, as a company, is a well-known big brand where he's been responsible for IT transformation, simplification, and transformation. Then has also been with vice president with Genpact, and before that business manager with Acer and HCL. So if you really look at it, the theme that we see of, and before, and also he's an MBA from Faculty of Management Studies, which is a leading management institute. So of course, strong credentials in management. And after that, having worked with some big brands in IT operations, in transformation, in setting up systems. And that's the reason, again, at Flipkart, he's also setting up operational system to drive superior e-commerce experience, if you look at that, right? So coherence, again, what's the thread that brings you? You will have to identify your thread. It's not every thread I see is unique. I've seen now so many profiles. Let me open up a completely different profile of some of the people that I've actually personally known. So if I go to now someone who is um, really senior specialist customer experience at Flipkart, another profile. And I have personally spoken to this person because he has engaged with me for my customer experience masterclass. So he's a senior specialist at CX for last over 2 years. Before that, he was a senior manager customer advocacy at Aditya Birla company in the insurance sector, and before that in another insurance sector at Future Generally. Okay, and then if you look at equity research, so some of these, so he bring in that financial services background, which is way different than e-commerce in many ways, but the common thread is customer experience and customer advocacy, right? And earlier he has also been involved in setting up the NPS and driving CX. So what is your thread, right? So what is your thread? I was speaking to someone who recently is moved from his previous job with IT services company to a product company. And what I learned from him, that during the interview, the interviewers were super impressed with his vision. And what was his vision? His vision was to one day become the chief customer officer. Right now he's in mid management in his career. Want to be a CXO, a chief customer officer one day, and want to create customer centric organizations. Now, this is a great vision, and they were pretty impressed with that. So, what's your vision, right? So, I talked about the evidence, and that now I'm talking about the vision. You have a vision? It doesn't matter what you've been doing and where you come from, but after I have when I run CX masterclass, one of the things we establish is a clarity of why somebody wants to be part of the customer experience masterclass. It's not just about getting certified, but what would you do after that? What is it that you will impact? In which area? How will you impact? How will you change certain aspects of business, certain aspects of behaviors, certain aspects of customer centricity, right? And that's so important, because that clarity will give them, the vision. And many of them already have a great vision, and that's the reason they become part of the masterclass. But if those people who do not have a vision still would come in and learn and evolve their vision, right? So if you're watching live, or if you watch this recording, just give me a thumbs up to share with me that it's making sense to you. Yeah, so vision is another important thing for basis which I've seen people getting the job breakthrough. So if you talk about e-commerce and CX, then how would you change CX in e-commerce? I had somebody, a senior leader, joining my masterclass from Amazon, and he said that Amazon is already a mature customer-centric organization, and in fact, Amazon's vision is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. That leader wanted to do something beyond that, something beyond what's happening. That was his vision, to really, and in the operations space, in the CX operations space. And that leader really wanted to infuse something new, uh, in aspect, in certain ways, within the his realm, right? So yeah, I think I see, thanks for, I see a note coming in from Srikant Bhatia. uh, Thank you for this. I appreciate that. I just read it for everyone. So, Srikant is saying, being, let me just show it, being a stern believer of the importance of CX, and for somebody with about 6 years of experience in e-commerce domain that is mainly into key account management and business development roles, what step would you really suggest to make transition in um, to make transition into the CX role in the same domain? Great. Yeah, thank you, Srikant. Thanks for this question. Thanks for being here. Great question. And I think I see, probably after this call, maybe you can even, if we, I think we're connected, so maybe I'll have a look at even your profile. But I see already you have 6 years of experience in the e-commerce domain and have great interest in customer experience. So we need to dig deeper into what elements of customer experience you've already been involved. Now, having said that, that's the core of my subject, and if I may say, interest and expertise. Within customer experience, there are various elements, the strategy, the culture, the design of CX, the voice of customer, uh, you know and listening to the voice of customer, measurement of customer experience. So there are certain elements for each e-commerce company, they really need that in place. And what is your next level of understanding and expertise within CX? That's one. That's the existing experience that I already talked about. The second piece is, let me give you a framework, interesting framework. Let me type it here if I can. WA, that is WACE, which is WACE. And the WACE means V for vision, A for application, E for evidence, and C for conviction. Now, what's your vision when some e-commerce you want to go into an e-commerce company? What's your vision? Like, gave you example of someone who wanted to be a chief customer officer. What is your vision? And the next is, how would you apply that vision and change? So you need to have that connection between your vision and a framework to apply that. And that's where, we help a lot of people go through our CX masterclass, and that's exactly what we offer them and help them with. The C stands for conviction. How deeply you have a conviction, how deep your conviction is to make it happen. Do you breathe, live that vision? That's the C. And E is the evidence of having done it somewhere. right? So ways is the framework that you can use, which is V for vision, A for how would you apply that vision, and C is for conviction in that, which is your confidence in that, and E is really showing the evidence of that in your previous experience. Having said that, I would also encourage you to start learning certain framework. So for example, cxpa.org offers a framework on which we provide training and masterclass. If you want, send me a message and I can send you more details around that, or you can learn on your own, but master certain framework and couple it with your existing experience and have a clear vision. I'm sure you're going to make a, you're going to impress somebody with that clarity, because you've already got good experience and you're very passionate about CX. You're a stern believer in the importance of CX. So Shrikant, thanks for that question. I hope it helped you. Let me know in the chat box if you could hear me and you could follow what I shared with you. Thanks for the great question. Anybody else has any question as I talk about this? I already talked about the framework in response to Shrikant's question about it. Right. So the the other thing is, really do not just think by looking at some other people getting job breakthrough that you can't get it, you don't have it. You work towards that. You identify if there are certain I'm seeing all kind of profiles getting all kind of job breakthroughs, and using this framework of vision, application, conviction and evidence, you can easily identify the gap and start to fill it up. What I mean is, for example, if you don't have a vision, then what is your um, what is it that you need to do to create that vision? Because vision is the first place. Yeah, thank you, Shrikant. Glad that you liked it, like the response, and it helped you. So vision, if you don't have vision, start evolving that, because vision will be the basis, will be a connecting point. Then how will you apply that? Then start to learn certain framework of customer experience, and then have that confidence and conviction in what you believe in. Why do you think your vision, when applied, will make a difference to certain e-commerce company? Will you improve their NPS, which is Net Promoter Score? Would you improve customer advocacy? Would you improve customer loyalty? Would you be able to improve the customer journeys? And how do you know it will improve? You can even talk as a consumer, because all of us are also big consumers of e-commerce somewhere or the other, right? So start gathering the repository of those experiences from real life. There is no dearth of that. Somebody may say, I haven't worked in e-commerce. No worries. What is important is that you understand it and you're watching it very closely, and you are deeply into that, so much so that you're continuously learning about this. And that's what some people want to see. They really want to see your drive, your passion, your obsession for making a difference in e-commerce, in the with customer experience. And then, how would it that will give them the evidence, which is again the fourth element of ways framework. So I think this is it I wanted to share. Drop me a note if you watch it live, or you want to you know engage with me, or you want to learn more about this customer experience masterclass that I offer, and the certification, customer experience certification program that we do. We'll be happy to share, and would also be happy to look at your profile and see what what are the USP of your profile, and how can you get this breakthrough CX job breakthrough in e-commerce industry. Thank you for um, your time. Thank you so much for being here. Do send your questions and responses. How do you find this event? And I'll be happy to engage with you. With that, let me end the stream. Thank you so much. Meet with you again. Bye bye.